Hello. Aren't you so proud of me? I'm going live on YouTube. First, I just want to say thank you to Sandy, who encouraged me to do this. I've been putting it off for quite some time. So if you're joining me, I would love to hear from you and say hello. Just comment in our chat, and I would love to hear from you. So I have some exciting news and some details about our fall mystery quilt that's getting ready to start in about a week. So I look forward to sharing some details about that quilt with you and whether you decide to make this quilt or not. I hope you follow along in this series. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope that maybe it inspires you, maybe gets your creative juices going and you make some projects of your own that are inspired by this quilt. So even if you are super swamped with all of your Christmas projects coming up, I hope you still follow along in this series. So today is just going to be a quick first YouTube live video for me. I've been super nervous about this. Hello, everybody. It's so great to see everybody. Yay, you got notified that I was live. Yes, this is my first YouTube live video. Been doing some live videos over on Facebook where it's a little bit more of a controlled environment. So this is all new for me. So if the nerves are showing, my apologies. So we're not going to be hanging out forever today. I have some details about the mystery quilt that is getting ready to start, and I wanted to share those details with you, and I thought, what better way than to do my first YouTube live video. Hello, everybody. It's so great to hear from you. Yay. I'm so glad you're here. So we are getting ready to start a mystery quilt. And so I'll just go over what my idea of a mystery quilt is. Usually a quilt where we break it up into different segments and we do little videos about them. I show you some tips, some tricks, some techniques on how to make the blocks. Pardon me. This will be our third mystery quilt that we've done together. We did Hope, Dream, and Love. We did the stained glass puzzle mystery quilt, and this quilt that we're getting ready to start is much like the Hope, Dream, and Love quilt. It's applique, except this time we're not going to show you where all the blocks go as we're making the blocks. We're going to hold off the reveal of what the quilt will look like until the very end. I do want to assign a moderator, Diane. I don't know how to do that. Would you like to be my moderator? I certainly don't want any foolishness going on in my live chat from somebody who has nothing else better to do than to sit behind a keyboard and cause havoc. That's been one of my things that have held me back from doing YouTube live videos. So, not quite sure how to do that. You would love to? All right, before we get started, because this is my first YouTube live video, everybody who's watching, or if you're watching this on the replay, bear with me for a second while we figure out how to assign Diane the moderator. And I don't know how to do that, so, oh, here we go. Add moderator. Yay, you're now a moderator on my chat. Thank you so much. Okay, we figured out something new today. Not new, it's new to me. I know it's not new to you, Diane. I see you moderate several people's live videos, so you are so helpful. Thank you so much. Okay, so yeah, we're not going to reveal what this quilt is going to look like until the very end. And it's going to have different size blocks. It's going to have sashing between the blocks. I will let you know that. And yeah, it's going to be so much fun. So if you have all of these things coming up with the holidays approaching, I know many of you are super swamped, and I totally get it. What's really great about having video series is that you can do this quilt. Let's say you've watched the series from start to finish and you really want to make it, but you just don't have time, you can come back next spring and make this quilt. So I think that's really fun. The videos will always be there, and the patterns will be in the Etsy shop. And I was gonna say something. What was I just gonna say? Hello everybody, I'm so glad you're here. So if I remember, I'll come back to it. So let's start to go over the details for this quilt. Let's see, where am I? Here we are. There we go. So this year, or this fall, we're doing a mystery quilt with a cooking theme. Now I think your first thoughts might be, I don't like to cook. But what's really cool about this quilt is that it has some really cute little applique patterns with it. Kind of giving a hint here on the screen, but going to be all different applique patterns. And maybe here's what I was going to say is that let's say that maybe you're not up for doing a whole quilt. What's really great about these applique patterns is that you could make smaller projects with them. So let's say you've watched the whole series from start to finish and you're not really interested in making the quilt, but there was one applique pattern that you really liked and you could make some mug rugs with it, or you could make a cute little wall hanging out of it, or you could put it onto a sweatshirt or a t-shirt. You could just get that one block and make individual little projects with them. So that's what's really great about this quilt. Wow, it is so nice to see everybody. And so let's get started talking about the details of this quilt. Sorry, I have to go through my screens. Okay, so the way that this quilt is going to work, we're going to be doing a series that is 8 weeks long. At the each week, we're going to release 2 blocks for each week. Now, some of you, I hope that you know that if you want to make this quilt, you can take your time. There is no deadlines and time structures that you have to keep to. So you could just get the blocks and make them in your own time. Pull up the video when you're ready to make them. But each week, there's going to be 2 blocks that come out. Now, there is a cost associated with this mystery quilt. It's $1.50 a week to play along. And I'm going to show you here in just a second what you get for your $1.50. The whole quilt from start to finish, 16 blocks, is $12. So, you know, that's just something to keep in mind and consider approaching the mystery quilt. It's the cost involved. But if you break it down this way, it's 75 cents per block. 16 blocks, $12. And it might be, hi Ellen, I'm going to come right back to you. Yes, there's a free pattern for that mug rug. It might be that you only want to make part of the quilt and design your own layout with the blocks. And so you could get, you know, this week's blocks and week 3 blocks, you know, and save some money that way. Or you can do the whole quilt. So 2 new blocks each week, 16 blocks total. And start to finish, this series is going to be 8 weeks. Now we will have Christmas in there. So we're not going to do anything that week, and I haven't really looked to see what day Christmas is on. So the week of Christmas and possibly New Year's, depending on how the dates fall, we're going to just take a break and pick back up the following Friday. I don't have those dates right in front of me. Ellen, the mug rug pattern, let's see, let me find it. This one. If this is the one you're talking about, that is a free pattern. It's just a free printout, actually. It's a PDF, and it's actually in the description box of the video, Printing on Fabric. If you go to my YouTube channel, it's right near the top. It might be like 3 videos down. Open up that video, open up the description box, and the link is right there, and that brings you straight over to my Dropbox. Now, if you have problems finding where the description box is, you can maybe email me at lisacapenquilts@gmail.com, and I'll send it to you that way. It's so great to hear from all of you. Yes, Lisa, I will be doing a tutorial on all the blocks. However, I'm going to try to keep the videos a lot shorter this time. I'm trying to really work on that. I always have so much to say in all of my videos, and each one seems to be like 30 to 45 minutes long, and really, who has time for that? So I'm trying to work on shortening my videos and my video style. So I'd like to keep the videos about 10 minutes. And as we approach week 1, you'll kind of get the feeling of how the video is going to go. Now, most of us know how to do raw edge applique. There's so many different ways you could do it. Fusibles, freezer paper. We've covered all of that on my channel. And so if you're completely new to raw edge applique, you know, there's videos that you can go in the meantime before we start to learn how to do that and to practice. When I do the videos for this mystery quilt, I'm going to bring you along as I make my 2 blocks. And so you'll see how I do it, and that'll just be inspiration for how you can make your blocks. The patterns come with instructions and all kinds of stuff. We're getting ready to go over that. Thank you so much, Diane, for being my moderator. You are on it. You are so awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so that is the first set of details we're going to go over. So with each pattern, this is what is included. So for your $1.50 each week, you're going to get a set of full instructions. You're going to get a little picture of what the block looks like finished, and it's in color. You're going to get instructions. You're going to get fabric requirements for those blocks. You're going to get mirror image tracing templates if you are using like Heat and Bond Light or Wonder Under, any of those fusible products. And it requires you to mirror image your applique templates. That's already done for you. So those are included. And for those of you who have cutting machines like your Silhouettes, your Cricuts, your Brothers Scan and Cuts, you get an SVG file that you can also download for all of your applique pieces. So that is a huge time saver right there. So you can do it with your cutting machine, or you can trace using the mirror imaged templates. And then, so let's go over the size details of this quilt. Now, the Hope, Dream, and Love mystery quilt was a throw size quilt, and so many of you modified that quilt to a twin size that I thought, let's go ahead and make this one a twin size quilt too. So this one, when we're done, is going to be 72 by 88. And what I mentioned a few minutes ago, all of the applique templates are so versatile that you can use them to make smaller projects. Like, let's say you are making a Christmas gift for a friend that loves to cook or make cookies or bake, or just likes cute things in their house. You can modify these patterns and make cute little wall hangings, mug rugs, stuff like that. So that's what I really love about this quilt, is that you can do that with all of the applique patterns. Now I am going to pull up the fabric requirements for this quilt. And so this is going to be on the screen for a few minutes. Once the live video is done, I'm thinking you can come back and pause it right here and jot down, you know, if you're really interested in starting this quilt and you're looking at things to start gathering, you might be interested in what I'm going to share here. And you can pause it and write this stuff down. However, if you want a printed out version of this, it does come with week 1 blocks. So when you download week 1, blocks 1 and 2, you're also going to get this, and you can print it out and then start going through your stash and collecting everything that you need. So let's see, I'm going to leave that on the screen for a few minutes so you can kind of get a good idea of everything you'll need to gather. And while you're looking at that, I'm going to start looking at some comments. Oh yeah, you can take a screenshot. That's so smart, Kathleen. Why didn't I think of that? Lisa says it's so beautiful in North Carolina today. I haven't been outside today, but I know that the sun is shining bright. Let's see. Christmas Day is on a Wednesday. We're going to release these blocks on a Friday. So generally Friday morning. It'll usually be first thing in the morning. The new video will be released and the patterns will be available in my Etsy shop. And so you can get started first thing Friday morning or have it for the weekend. Something fun to do. And I'm really thinking that the applique patterns, they really aren't that complicated. And I don't know that they would take a long time to make. Maybe it depends on whether you're using like a zigzag stitch or a satin stitch. Here's a little preview of what I plan to do on some of my blocks. Instead of doing a satin or a zigzag stitch on some of my applique, I'm going to put on my darning foot and do some free motion stitching to stitch down my pieces. It'll kind of look like it's made them hand drawn and gives a really cute finish. I personally don't mind the raw edge being exposed on some of my quilts, and so I think it adds a little bit of character, and we're all different, but some of my applique I do plan on doing that, and that's even faster. Just reading through some comments. Denise said she was just watching last night's chat. That was a good one. We had a lot of stuff to share last night, which is awesome. I love it when there's a lot of people who want to share off what they've been working on. So if you're on Facebook and you haven't joined our Creative Crew group, we would love to have you over there. There's so many helpful people, and it's a really great community. I say it's a family. But if you haven't joined and you are on Facebook and able to do that, we would love to have you over there. So there are the fabric requirements for this quilt. And yeah, you could do a screenshot or come back and jot it down, but you will be able to print this off during week number 1. So do you have any questions that maybe we can answer while we are still live? I'm thinking we can do that before I go. Is this a newbie pattern? Yes, you can do this. You know, you need to have the basic knowledge of your sewing machine and raw edge applique. And if that's something totally new to you, certainly I am not the only creator of really great content about raw edge applique videos on YouTube. There's so many people out there who make awesome videos about it. There's so many different ways you could do it. I have a video about freezer paper and raw edge applique, and heat and bond and applique, doing satin stitch. I have a video about satin stitch tips that might be helpful if you're really new. And yeah, spend some time this coming up weekend and go through some videos and then sit down and practice with your sewing machine. And yeah, you can certainly follow along. I'm going to walk you through how to make the blocks. And then, yeah, we're going to put this quilt together. I think you certainly can follow along. And if you have questions, you just type them in the comments section or reach out to me and we'll get you all straight and figured out. How am I enjoying my new sewing room? I love it. It's so much space and it's so quiet. There's my house in Hampton, there was so much like outside noise, cars going by, horns honking, police cars, airplanes flying overhead. This is so quiet here. Where do we sign up and how do we pay? I am not a Facebook person. You do not have to be a Facebook person to play along in this mystery quilt. So in the description box, there's a link to my Etsy shop. You can go straight to Etsy. None of the patterns are up yet, but when we start, each week I will release the 2 blocks and they have a cute little thumbnail. You'll be able to recognize them. And Friday morning, I'll post a video on how I make my blocks. And so you don't have to sign up for anything and you can just follow along in your own time. And let's say you want to do this week and then next week's blocks, maybe you want to substitute for blocks that you already have, patterns that you already have, and you want to add them. You can do that. So there's no obligation and you can follow along in your own time. Can you do a quick recap on the particulars? I came in late. Yes, Kathleen, and I think you can go back and watch this video. I'm not sure, but let's go over the details one more time real quick. We're going to start on November. Whoops. There we go. All of my screens are getting messed up. There we go. Each week, you'll have 2 new blocks. There's going to be 16 blocks altogether, and it's going to be an 8-week series. There is a cost of $1.50 a week to play along, and like I just said, there's really no obligation. You can do it in your own time. So the total cost, if you want to make the quilt from start to finish, is $12, and the patterns will be up forever, and so you can do it in your own time. There's no hurry. With each week's blocks, you'll get a cute little picture that shows you what your block will look like, full instructions, fabric requirements for those blocks, mirror image tracing templates, and a separate SVG cutting file if you have a cutting machine and want to cut out your applique that way. And the size of the quilt is going to be 72 by 88. And what I'll do is bring this back up just in case you missed that part too. This will be starting November the 15th. I think I left that slide out. I totally did. November the 15th is when we're starting, so just a little over a week. I knew I messed up. I knew there was something looking funny. I did not add one of my slides. Do you see a problem with laying the blocks down on the long arm after all the blocks have been heat and bonded to the foundation of the quilt? And no, you could certainly do that, Kathleen. I love doing that. It would save you so much time if that's something that you want to do, is actually stitch down your applique while you're quilting your quilt. You could certainly do that. Yes, you could do that. The link to your Etsy shop in the description doesn't work for me. Okay, when this is over, I'll go back because sometimes what happened, I copy and pasted that. Sometimes when you do that, it messes up the link for some reason. And so when this is over, I'm going to go through and I will change that link to make sure that it's working. So check back when you have time and see if that isn't working. Or you can just go straight to Etsy and in the search bar type Lisa Capen Quilts and my shop should come up. And if you favor it, it'll be easier to find. And then, but you won't see any of these patterns up there until next Friday when I release the first 2 blocks. I know, the lighting in my room is so different during the day. I do my Facebook Live videos at night, so it's a little darker in here, but the light in the morning is really pretty. In the afternoon, the sun comes through here and really heats up this room, which I think in the wintertime is going to be awesome because I run on the cold side, but this summer it got kind of toasty in here. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's up with the Etsy, besides the link for the Etsy, besides thinking that it probably got messed up when I copy and pasted it. Amy, can it all be paid at one time and how? Okay, so the Hope, Dream, and Love quilt, I'm glad you asked that because I meant to actually include that. The Hope, Dream, and Love quilt, I did not include SVG. I don't think I included SVG files for that. And so it was all just PDFs and tracing templates. And so it was really easy at the end of that quilt series to combine all the PDFs into one pattern. And then if you waited until the end and wanted just to do one purchase and get everything all at one time, it was really easy to do that. Because I've added the SVGs as a feature of this quilt, there are so many files, and Etsy only allows you 5 files to upload for one purchase. And so while I could put all of the PDFs together, there's several SVGs and I can't fit that all into one listing. So unfortunately, each week there'll be 8 total transactions all together. And so if you wanted to wait till the very end, you just add the 8 weeks into your cart. You only have to check out one time if you do that, and then you'll have all of the patterns to download, which is kind of a pain in the tootie. But I tried. I don't know how to combine all the SVGs into like 2 or 3 maybe SVG files without it really getting confusing. And so unfortunately I can't combine everything. And through Etsy you can pay really securely with like your debit card and stuff like that. If you aren't signed up with Etsy, they make it really easy. I use Etsy all the time for like embroidery designs and stuff. So it's really easy to check out. And yes, that's how you'll be paying, and that's where you'll be getting your files from. And once you purchase, it may take a few seconds and sometimes a minute or two, and then it'll let you know that your downloads are ready. So you get them straight from Etsy. You can just start working right away. Maybe you will win another blue ribbon with this quilt. Maybe since then, I had a friend who is also a teacher. She makes YouTube's videos and stuff like that, teaching techniques and stuff. Oh, no, she doesn't. I'm thinking of someone else. She has a Facebook, and she quilts for other people, and she makes her own quilts as a business. And she made a quilt and she showed it at her state fair and she won a couple ribbons. And then she got a letter from the state fair that because she operates as a business, they were like taking back her ribbons. So after I heard that, I kind of had like convicting feelings about showing another quilt at this little tiny fair that I put that quilt in, because everybody else, they don't, as far as I know, they're not teachers and instructors. And so I don't know if I'll actually be showing any more quilts there. I feel kind of bad about it now. Yes, Rachel, I did it. I stepped out of my comfort zone. I have been putting off this video for 4 days. So yes, thank you so much for all of the encouragement. And yeah, It took some nerve to hit the go live button on YouTube. Does Etsy take PayPal? I believe you can check out with PayPal on Etsy. I have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure PayPal is so flexible with their payments and payment options that I'm pretty sure, I would say I'm 85% sure that you can check out with PayPal on Etsy. I'll double check that. No, it wasn't Tiffany's Quilting Life. I don't want to reveal too much because she doesn't do YouTube videos, but her name is Connie. I don't know if you follow her on Facebook or not. Oh, Andy says that they've used PayPal many times on Etsy. So thank you so much for verifying that, because I was scared to mess up my screens to move over to Etsy to actually check that. So thank you for letting us know. Hello, Chef Style. Chef Style. Oh, so last night in our Facebook live video, we had some mozzarella pizza snacks that looked so good that today, thank you so much, Krista. Today I'm going to go maybe buy some stuff to make those tonight. I didn't have any. I was going to make them last night. But then after the live, I was reading all the conversation and then just spent some time with Harlan. But yes, they looked so good. Your name, Chef Style, just reminded me of them. So I wanted to keep this a little bit of a shorter live video, and especially it being my first YouTube live video, I wanted to see what all the screens did. I like that I can follow along in the chat easier over here on live. That's something to consider. But thank you all for spending some time this morning with me. Actually, it's 12:17. It's lunchtime. Wow, this morning has flown by. That just lets you know how long I've been messing with hitting the live button on this video this morning. Thank you so much, Kathleen. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Now I am off to do something creative. I feel so much better now that I've done my first one and I accomplished that goal. I can mark it off of my to-do list. 4 days. That box has not been checked off on my calendar. I get to check it off today. So, yeah, if you have any questions after this video, and if I have missed your question in the chat, I am really sorry. And I certainly am not trying to ignore you. But if you have any questions, I will see them in the comment section for sure. And so go leave them in the comment section. We'll get you all figured out. And I don't know if I'll see you here. When will we see you again and when? I'm not sure if I'll see you here on YouTube before next Friday. Maybe. I'm getting ready to start another t-shirt quilt. And I have some videos to make for this mystery quilt. But I also have some ideas for just, you know, playing around. Inspirational little, here's some creative idea videos. So we'll see. Maybe before next Friday, but for sure, we'll see you November the 15th in the morning next Friday. Not day after tomorrow, a week from Friday. All right, thank you so much, Diane, for moderating. I so appreciate it. I'm sending you a great big hug. I thank you so, so much. I've been worried about that. That's been one of my hang-ups of not doing this, is not knowing how to assign a moderator. So I learned that, and not having someone who would do it. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that a lot. I use an iPad and YouTube is much better to see live on. I don't have an iPad. I have someone who asked me a question on Etsy this morning. She's having trouble downloading her stuff, and I got to go figure that out as soon as we're done. But I don't know how to use an iPad. All of my stuff is Android. So that's good to know, though, that it comes in better on YouTube than it does on Facebook. Okay, I think we're done. Closing out the videos is not one of my strong suits. So I hope you have an awesome rest of your week. I hope your weekend is even better. And until we see you for sure next Friday, the 15th, I hope everybody stays fantastic. We'll see you all really, really soon. Bye. I'm going to go mark this off of my to-do list. Bye, everybody.